Hey everyone, Connor here today at eachother.com. Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the Roadmaster 7-wire to 4-wire diode kit here on our 2021 Jeep Gladiator. So this is what our diode wiring kit is going to look like installed. As you can see here, we're actually using the factory taillights and taillight bulbs. Therefore, we're not going to have to worry about any separate lights, such as the magnetic lights, which you have the wires draping over the vehicle. It's not really a clean setup. There's also other kits such as bulb and sockets, but these require drilling into the taillight assemblies. So this diode kit here, we're going to be using our own wires that go to the front for our motorhome, and they power the signals for our taillights. So our diode wiring kit is basically going to let other motorists know what we're doing when we're flat towing our Jeep here. They're going to mimic the signals of our motorhome. So because we have the Jeep behind the motorhome, we may or may not be able to see the taillights on the motorhome as well if we're traveling behind. That's what this diode wiring kit is going to do. It's going to transfer those signals from the motorhome to the Jeep to let other motorists know on the road what we're doing. It's going to have all the basic signals, such as the stop signals, the turn signals, as well as our running light circuit. So here we have our connection at the front of the vehicle. Our kit is going to come with this trailer connector here, which gets secured to a trailer connector mounting bracket. Now the 1-liter kit is not going to be exactly like this. It is going to be a similar one. And basically, we just have it mounted to the front bumper of our Jeep here. And wherever we're ready to tow, it's super simple to install this. Simply just open the lid, press it into place. There's going to be a little tab at the bottom, so it's only going to go in one way. But that's it. It's pretty much super easy. If we go over here to the motorhome, we're going to have the same. We're going to have a 7-way connection though, but we just press it to lock it in place. So what I really like about this kit here in particular is going to be our coiled umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is basically going to be what bridges the connection between our Jeep and our motorhome. In the coil design in particular, not only is it super durable, it's also going to help keep our slack off the ground, so I don't have to worry about it becoming damaged. So in regards to installation, this one is pretty easy as well. We do have to make a couple splices into sort of our factory harness here, but don't worry about that. We're not going to have any issues transpiring over to the vehicle because the diodes that come with this kit, they're going to prevent the backflow of electricity. Therefore, we don't have to worry about any current or electricity coming from the motorhome causing any damage to our vehicle here. Our factory circuits are going to be completely protected. So now that we've gone over some of the benefits and features, let's go ahead and jump into that installation so we can show you guys how it's done. So the first step of our installation, we need to find a place, preferably here in the center of our front bumper, where we're going to mount our trailer connector. Now the bracket that we're going to get in our kit is going to look like this, which is great. We can use it for this particular application, but we've got a better idea using the bracket that actually came with our base plates. Now the particular base plates we're going to be installing are the e-trailer base plates. The Demco base plates also come with this bracket as well. But what we find that works really well with this bracket here, it actually lines up. We're going to have these two holes here. We just have to wall them out just slightly, but once done so, it's actually going to line up with two existing mounting points we have here on the bottom of our bumper. So all we need to do is take a 7mm socket. We remove both of those screws there. We're actually going to be able to use these factory holes to mount our trailer connector bracket, just like so. Just like that. And basically what this allows us to do is, it minimizes us having to drill into the front bumper, having to make any more modifications. We can install the one that comes with our kit, we would just have to drill our own holes. But luckily our base plate kit here came with a nice mounting bracket here that's going to work perfect for our application. So that's the one we're going to be using, but again, you can still use the one that comes in your kit. But what we're going to do now is, we're going to take a paint marker, any sort of marker you have here, and basically I'm just going to try to stick it through the center of that hole as best as I can. I'm just going to make a small little mark in our skid shield here. And the reason for that is I'm going to go ahead and take down this bracket that I just secured, and I'm going to use a step drill bit, and I'm going to drill out that hole, probably around 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch should be all that's needed, because that's where we're going to pass our wires through. So let's go ahead and do that now. now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our bonded 4-pole wiring harness here. I'm going to snake it behind the skid shield and have it come out this hole. I'm going to give ourselves about 5 to 6 inches of extra wire to work with. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take the remaining wire, we're going to run it all the way back to the vehicle's taillights. So now we've got our wire ran, we can go ahead and show you the path we took. As you can see here, we went through the hole that we drilled earlier and just tied up some of the excess wire here to give us plenty of room to work. And then we came behind our skid shield here. It's going to be kind of hard to see because we have our black wire loom on some of the wires going into the frame. But we have our wires up here. It has zip tied it to some other holes in the frame there. We want to make sure that we avoid anything such as the rack and pinion, our sway bar, pretty much any moving parts. So we've come back here. And actually directly above our front axle here is where we're going to have an access hole, which is where we have our wire leading into the frame. You can kind of just see the colored portion of our bonded 4-pole here. And you can see it goes directly into the frame. And then pretty much what we've done is we've took the wire and we've ran it all the way in the frame to the rear of the vehicle by the trailer hitch. We'll show you where that comes out now. So here we have a large access hole in the frame directly above where our trailer hitch is that you can see we have our wire ran out through. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the taillights because we're going to be feeding this wire up behind the taillight pocket. So now we're going to let our tailgate down here. We're going to come to the inside. We're going to be working on both sides here, so it doesn't matter which side you start with. But we're going to see these 2 little bolts here, one at the top, one at the bottom. And these are what's actually physically holding our taillights onto the body of our truck. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an 8mm socket. I'm just going to remove both of these bolts. Once both of those are out, we should be able to pull our taillight away from the vehicle. Keep in mind we have some alignment tabs going in, so we need to make sure we pull straight out. There's the alignment tabs that we talked about. Some of them are in there pretty tight, so you may need to use a little bit of force. What we're going to do next is, if we actually look inside the taillight pocket there, we're going to see we have a connector there, a little pigtail. Use our fingernail, pull outward on that red tab, which is the lock, and then we depress the center of it, pull outward to release the clip. Just like that. Now we'll go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So now we'll take the wiring harness that we just ran to the rear here by the trailer hitch. We went ahead and just came up. There's going to be a little pocket here behind our taillight. Just bring our wiring harness up through there. What we're going to do now is we're actually just going to zip tie it to our existing wiring harness so we don't have to worry about it falling back down. So now that we have our wire ran up here, what we're going to do is we're going to begin to separate the circuits here. The first one we're going to be doing is the white wire, which is for the ground. We're just going to cut a little bit of that loose. We'll begin pulling it away from the rest of our wires. So this white wire, as I said, is going to be for the ground. We're going to be using a self-tapping screw along with a ring terminal that comes with our kit here to secure this. Now we need to secure this to a bare metal surface here. We're just going to be coming inside here, probably on this back portion of this metal here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and trim some of the excess we have. Then we're going to strip some of the jacket off our wire. We're going to take our taillight here. As you can see here, we have some protective coating here along with some electrical tape that's covering our wiring harness. We need to go ahead and remove all of this so we have room to splice in and install our diodes. So we need to be careful here, but we're going to be taking a razor blade once we get our tape started. We're going to begin cutting some of this protective coating off to reveal our wires. So now that we have all the electrical tape and sheathing off our wires here, we went ahead and already tested them for you. We're on the driver's side. This yellow wire here is going to be for the stop/turn signal circuit, and the solid white wire here is going to be for the running light circuit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mark about the halfway point of this wire. It doesn't need to be exact. Just go ahead and snip that. We're going to do that for our white wire as well, about the halfway point. We need to make sure there's actually 3 white wires. One of them is a white/orange, one of them is a white/gray, one of them is a solid white. Make sure we have the solid white wire. Now we can go ahead and strip some of the jacket off and begin attaching our diodes. So now we're going to take 2 of our diodes here. One of them is going to have all blue connectors, one of them is going to have all blue with 1 yellow. We're going to take one of them working on the outside. We're going to go ahead and splice this on. And we'll do that for our other wire as well. So now we'll take the other end of our wires here. We'll go ahead and just strip some more of the jacket off. And we're going to attach the same blue spade terminals that we just attached previously. So now we'll take our diodes here once we have our connections made. The outside is going to be going to the bulbs. Let's go ahead and connect it like so. Take our other diode as well, make that connection. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the backing off of our diodes. I'm going to stick them together. Also at this time, if you feel your spade terminals are a little loose, we can go ahead, take a pair of vice grips here. We'll just clamp them down so they're a little bit more secure. So now we'll take our remaining wires here, we'll go ahead and just split them up so we can separate them like we did for the white wire. So now we're going to take our yellow wire, once we've separated it from the rest of the wires here. This is going to be for the driver side stop/turn signal circuit. So what we're first going to do is we're going to cut away some of the excess. And then we are going to crimp on one of our blue spade terminals. We're going to do the same thing here for this brown wire, but we want to be careful before we want to go ahead and make our connection with our spade terminal, because we're going to be 1, using the yellow spade terminal, and 2, we're going to be piggybacking another wire. It's going to be another jumper wire over to the passenger side. So now we're going to take our brown wire here, which is for our running light circuit. We're going to take some extra brown wire that we cut off. We're going to splice those 2 together. And then we're going to crimp on our yellow spade terminal. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to take our taillight assembly here. We can go ahead and make our connections to our diodes. So the one with the yellow wire is going to be for the running light circuit. So we'll take our brown wire, connect it to the free terminal there. And then we have our other yellow wire here, which will go to the stop/turn signal circuit, just like that. Now we can go ahead and take our plugs here, plug them back in together, lock the connectors back in place. What we're going to do next is we're going to take our green and brown wires, we're going to feed them back down through the taillight pocket and run them over to the passenger side. So once we have our wires ran back down, we can go ahead and simply reinstall our taillight. So now we can take our brown and our green wire, we can go ahead and run that over to the passenger side. So once we have our green and brown wires over to the passenger side here, we just went ahead and snuck them up in behind the little taillight pocket here and zip tied it to our existing harness. Now we're going to go ahead, take our passenger taillight, we're going to strip that electrical tape off to reveal the wires just as we did on the driver's side. So now we've gone ahead and installed our diodes in line to our harness, just mirrored it pretty much to what we did on the driver's side. We installed 2 spade terminals here. Pretty much the only thing that changes from the passenger to the driver's side is our running light circuit. We don't have 2 wires. We don't have to worry about that jumper wire because our jumper wire is already over here. So just make sure you're plugging the brown wire into the diode with the white wires. And our green wire into the diode with the yellow wires. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and plug in our connector and reinstall our taillight. So now we can go ahead and install our trailer connector here. The first thing we're going to do, however, is we're going to get rid of some of our excess wire. As you can see, we have some extra wire loom as well we won't be needing. So we can go ahead and trim this down. Then we can go ahead and take some of our electrical cord, go ahead and cut that because we won't be using all this as well. Now we're going to begin separating our circuits here. I'll just pull each of those away one by one, just like that. Now what we can do is we're going to take our connector here. We're going to have a screw on the top here. We're going to need a small Phillips head screwdriver to remove. Once we move that screw, we can actually pop the lid, and we should be able to just tilt our little terminal here out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this out. We're going to make our connections here. You can see we're going to have some small screws on the back. We're just going to loosen those slightly. We won't be taking them all the way out, but just enough to stick our wires in. So now we'll take our trailer connector here, and through the back we'll go ahead and take all our wires and we'll just feed them through that hole, just like so. Close the door to lock them in place. And now we're going to take our wire strippers here. We're going to strip off a little bit of the jacket off of each of these 4 wires. And now we'll go ahead and take our plug here. We'll just wire everything according to the diagram and our instructions. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slide our plug back into the socket here. But before we do that, we're going to take some silicone here. We're going to fill in all these terminals there, so we don't have to worry about any water getting in there and creating any issues. Now we'll go ahead and take the hardware that came in our kit here and attach our trailer connector to the mounting bracket. Now we can go ahead and test out our lights here. We'll start by testing the tail lights, the left turn, the brake lights, and then the right turn. And there we go. Now we know everything's working. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the Roadmaster 7-wire to 4-wire diode kit here on our 2021 Jeep Gladiator.